Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Political Spotlight, and I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. We are happy to be here with you. This is a part of our candidate interview series from the 2023 municipal elections here in the state of Indiana. We wanted to bring this interview to you all live during our live Political Spotlight live commentary shows at 9 p.m. Eastern, Sunday through Thursday, but unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts and satellite link-up issues, we just were not able to do so. That means we unfortunately have to do this interview by phone. However, it's still very important. We have a lot of good questions, and this is an important candidate for you all to hear from. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments, we're going to be joined by none other than Mr. Dark Dan, the mayor of the city of Munice. We reached out to his camp. He talked to our people, and we are able to make this happen. And this is an interview that you all are going to want to hear. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Dark Dan, the mayor of Munice. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking part in this interview process.
I wanted to start off by saying thank you for having me on, Kristopher. I know a lot of other Republicans are being chicken shits and not coming on, but I am. The people of Munice deserve to hear what I have to say, especially after you had that red-headed guy on. I won't spend all of my time talking shit, but how can anyone take him seriously if he's not talking about what every Munosian loves to hear about? Splash pads and roundabouts.
We might get to the splash pads and roundabouts a little later on, but first we want to talk about the big elephant in the room. And of course, I don't mean any Republicans, but I mean the fact that here in the last few days, matter of fact, on my program, we've recently kind of rebroken the story about a bankruptcy that you have had in your past. And that kind of blows people's minds because you have kind of been billed as the fiscal guru, that you've written 3 books on how to be fiscally intelligent and do things the right way. You're always talking about how you're doing well with the citizens of Muncie's tax dollars. And so the question is this something that we need to be worried about? You know, what's going on with this bankruptcy?
I'm not worried about that. Sure, some people will pick up on it and say, how can you claim to be such a financial expert if you declared bankruptcy? And yeah, I could talk about how maybe it wasn't the most financially sound decision to invest in a guinea pig farm. The brochure made it sound legit. You could milk them or shave them for boot lining. You could even sell their meat on the black market. What they don't tell you is that the black market is not just going up to a black person and asking them if they want to buy guinea pig meat. I found that out the hard way. They also don't tell you that each guinea pig only makes about a teaspoon of milk a day. Oh, and they don't tell you that there's no good way to tell which ones are male and female. I'll let that stew on you for a second. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah. So what people won't pick up on is that in order to be in so much debt to declare bankruptcy, you have to have had credit good enough that you can get credit cards and loans. Let me tell you, you don't self-publish 3 books on building credit without some experience and a lot of credit cards to pay for them. Speaking of my books, if you don't mind, I'd like to plug them briefly. If your listeners are interested, they can buy my books at snoozefest.com. My first book is titled, Please Help Me Pay Off My Debt, a real-life plea for help paying off my debt with this god-awful book. It covers basic myths of credit scores and how to improve them. My second book, that first book didn't do so hot, so here's another one with a cooler cover, dives into the same concepts but with slightly different wording. My third book was by far my most popular one. It sold 1,273 copies. It's titled Only Dan's, My Brief Time as an Internet Model. It's got a photo of me in my white briefs on the cover. Get it? My brief time? In briefs? Anyway, I thought it was clever, but you can guess why that book was so popular. So yeah, I had really great credit, and that's how I was able to rack up enough debt to need to file for bankruptcy. Personally, I think some people just want to be negative, and they miss the part where it took my experience to get my credit scores that high. If they want to hold me to it that I shouldn't be selling myself as Paul Rudd of the mid-sized city banking scene just because I declared bankruptcy, they can do that. I just disagree. They don't know the pressures of second-class city banking. The high-stakes bowling leagues doing coke off the ass of a 58-year-old concession stand worker. It's not for the financially weak. There are expectations. Jim Davis would host wild sex parties and you'd have to bring your own gimp suit. Shit is expensive. Anyway, I didn't come here to run down memory lane of all the stuff I spent money on. I'd like to move this along.
And move it along we will, sir. So, starting with one of the big pressing issues, out of all of your team, out of all of the cheerleaders or the Danatics, as we like to call them around here, which one is your favorite and why?
I thought these would be easy, Christopher. I have to say that Shireen and Lindsay are tenacious, but they can be pretty annoying. Neither one of them ever shuts up. Preston has some very delicate fingers, and I do appreciate that. But I guess I'd have to say that Troy Tackett is my favorite. There's just something about his beard on my face when we embrace, not to mention the he kisses my ass. Can I say ass on the radio? Well, he does it just the right amount.
Here at the Political Spotlight, we want to know which of your half-assed, incomplete, bad for the City of Munice achievements are you most proud of?
I don't appreciate your question, Chris. You give me nothing but shit all day, every day. My, quote, achievements, as you say, are all amazing. The people of Mu-niss tell me all the time how much they love them. I don't know that I can choose just one. But if I had to, one would be when I combined my 1,000 Tree initiative with fixing potholes. Seemed like a no-brainer. Plant the tree, fix the pothole. Another project I'm looking forward to is putting the roundabout at the convergence of Jack's Off Street and Vane Street. That's where we're putting the Prince Albert Seaman Memorial, right next to the splash pad. Oh gosh, how could I forget Spatula City? Or Meet and Greet, the family-style funeral home and buffet, or the Cornerstone Memorial Splash Park where the old Cornerstone building was.
Whose cousin do I need to be, or anyone else in the City of Munice, to get an insider deal? And what proof of relationship is needed?
Ha! Well, being Councilman Clark sure doesn't hurt. There are worse people to be related to. Shit, I wish I wasn't related to my brother sometimes. Every time there's a train stopped, I worry that it's... Oh, fuck, I knew I shouldn't have smoked that bowl before this interview. I get too chatty when I'm high.
Wait. Did you say you have a brother?
Yeah, he's my twin brother, Dastardly Dan. He likes to grab women, preferably blondes, tie them up with an excessive amount of rope, and tie them to the train tracks. It's ridiculous. We've tried to have interventions, but all he does is snicker and twist his admittedly superior mustache. If you can't tell, there's a reason I've made sure never to mention him.
Okay, moving on. You recently had a concert partnered with Ball State University that was more than a little controversial because of the amount of money out of the edit fund that you used to pay for it. The citizens and we here at the Political Spotlight want to know, do you have any more plans for free concerts that will end up costing the taxpayers crazy amounts of tax dollars?
I'm so glad you asked because I do in fact have more concerts planned. Rick Dees, famous for his top 40 countdown, came to play his smash hit Disco Duck. Norman Greenbaum also performed his hit Spirit in the Sky. Both of those were in September. Lou Vega is on my wish list. Gordon Lightfoot's people have yet to get back with me. As for acts we've lined up, we are bringing in Jimmy's Chicken Shack and Sean Mullins to play at the auditorium at the Delaware County Justice Center. The people of Mu-niss have responded very well. They know the value of music, so they don't mind spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on acts like these. Sure, I could use that money to better assist the less fortunate during the winter, but let's be real. Those people don't pay taxes anyway. I'm here to make sure those people who are paying taxes are taken care of, entertained and distracted.
Everything's gonna be all right. I can't wait to hear Lullaby for sure. I want to know if he can still hit those high notes. All right, moving on, Mayor Dan. Do you mind if I call you Dark Dan? All right, Dark Dan, I know that you guys have been attempting to fix the roads, or at least make it look like you were attempting to fix the roads, or you have at least been taking pictures of roads that you have stated that you fixed. Whatever's going on there, I'm not really sure. But these Muncie roads that you haven't fixed have done a number on many citizens' vehicles, including mine. They have absolutely hurt me in the tire and the rim area. I guess this question is kind of a personal question. Who do you recommend for the best rim job in town.
You're trying to bait me into saying something stupid with your double entendre trap, aren't you? Well, I won't fall for it. Let me be very clear that I love rim jobs, just not the way that you're intending them, Chris. You should be better than that. As to your actual question, I love getting serviced by many of our fine Mu-niss mechanics. Cooper Tires is gentle handling my nuts when I get any rim job. They are great about inspecting my rear end before they ever service me, too. See, you're not going to get one over on me, Christopher. I've written 3 books on credit scores, so you know I'm smart.
We know all about your books and the fact that you are a financial guru. And this next question kind of goes in that area. It's well known, sir, that I've been very critical, as have many, about your half-baked economic development deals since you've been mayor and economic development director. Will you finally, here and now, go on record telling the people that you have a major problem with ED?
Yes, you have been extremely critical. I can't say I'm a fan. I can tell you with 100% accuracy that my plans are fully baked. I know it may not seem like I look into things to the average Joe of Munice, but I'd never expect them to understand how I handle economic development anyway. Such plebes. I've had people complain about my ED, and sometimes I'm a bit premature with it. And yes, I do have problems keeping up, following through and finishing, but I will keep trying. The people of Munice know that I will. They deserve to at least feel like I'm trying, even if I am not trying very hard.
We're about out of time, and I'm going to give you the last word here in just a few moments. But first, no matter if you win or lose in November, I want to know, sir, do you think that you and I could make plans for maybe another lunch date like we had back in March of 2022?
You keep trying to remind people how I bailed on the bill, but what did you expect? Bring your own lunch, Bilbrey? Maybe even pack it in your Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox you have. Oh yeah, I know about that.
Okay, well, Dark Dan, I want to thank you, I guess, for deciding to interview with us, even if the Bizarro World version of you wouldn't. That said, I'm going to give you the last word here to say anything that you haven't been able to say or anything that you would like to get out to the people and that you want them to know. And I want to end by saying you're welcome here anytime, as is the Bizarro World version of yourself. And we will let you take it away.
Yeah, I'd like to just tell people that they have a choice this election. You can vote for things like newly paved roads and real public safety. You can choose to have a mayor that communicates well. You can elect someone who's going to look out for the little guy and focus on the economy, or you can vote for me. I like to spice things up and keep you on your toes with what I'm going to do next. Do you think that red-headed leprechaun is just going to leave you splash pads at the end of his rainbow? Hell no, he won't. I'm bringing great things to Munice while neglecting so much of what people claim they need. My plan revolves around keeping taxes low. That means lowering property values. So while you may want to talk shit about me, I'm busy trying to tank your property values so that you don't have to pay so much in taxes. Sure, it cheats kids out of a good education, but it's all part of the cycle. In the meantime, you can all go play in the splash pads I'm installing or go play in the roundabouts if you like. I don't care. Just let me do what I do best, which is taking credit for things I didn't do and looking like I'm trying when really I'm not. Are we done here, Chris? I just got a text that the train on MLK is stopped again, and my brother has some lady with tiggle bitties tied to the tracks again. God damn it. This is why we can't have nice things in Munice. That and all the poor people. Anyway, we should do this again, but not really. We'll just pretend. Sherry didn't want me to come on here. By the way, before I forget, Sherry says, fuck you. I didn't say it. She did. So I guess I hope you and your 13 listeners have a wonderful day. Make sure to remind the idiots out there to vote on November 7th. See you later, fuckwads. I'm Audi 3000. Peace, bitches.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the mayor of Munice. I want to thank Dark Dan for coming on and taking the time to speak with us. And now it's left up to you, ladies and gentlemen, what you plan to do at the ballot box. It's in your hands now, folks. You heard it here, and you also have the interview of Jeff Robinson, the Democratic candidate. It's sad and unfortunate that Mayor of Muncie, Dan Ridenour, would not interview with us, but you have the last 4 years of experience to go off of to decide what you want to do there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and we will see you again soon.